The Uvalde School Police Chief, Pedro Arredondo, has been under some scrutiny for the delayed police response to last week's mass shooting at Robb Elementary School. And since he's, facing some scrutiny, it's been pretty difficult to locate within the last few days. How weird. Maybe it's because he has to answer why officers treated the shooter as a barricaded subject instead of an active shooter. I mean, again, this was a guy that made the call. Now, that was despite knowing that children inside the classroom were calling 911 and begging for help for over an hour while they sat outside. He'd also have to answer for why the numerous initial statements from the police have turned out to be completely wrong, flat out false, and why the Uvalde Department and the Uvalde Independent School District Police are now refusing to cooperate with the Texas DPS investigation. So there are a lot of questions here. A lot of questions for Mr. Arredondo, and so he doesn't want to answer them. And you're going to see that in this next video where you have a CNN reporter that decides to confront him. Take a look.
We went to the office where we assumed he was going, and sure enough, we were sitting in our car when he drove in, so we quickly ran out and confronted him, essentially, as he was going in through the back door of the school district office, and we asked him about the accusations from the director of the DPS, who says that he was the sole person who made the decision to not have officers breach that door. We also asked him questions about whether or not he's cooperating with the investigation. Take a listen to what he said.
How are y'all?
I want to talk to you about your decision and what the DPS director said.
How's it going?
Good, I'm Pete. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I
you.
want to talk to you about the decision and what
Department we're doing, but just to let y'all know, and I just spoke with it.
I know you did, but
You're not blocking me, are you?
No.
turn this way.
No, just so y'all know. Just so you all know, obviously, we're not going to release anything. We have people in our community being buried, so we're going to be respectful.
I just want your reaction
we're gonna be
the director McGraw saying that you were responsible for the decision to go into that room. How do you explain yourself to the
We're going to be respectful to the family.
I understand that, but you have an opportunity to explain yourself to the parents.
And just so you know, we're going to do that eventually, obviously.
When?
And whenever this is done and we let the families quit grieving, then we'll do that, obviously. And just so everybody knows, we've been in contact with DPS every day. Just so you all know.
They say they say that you're not cooperating.
I've been on the phone with them every day.
They say you're not cooperating. So take just 2 seconds.
Just so you know, we've been talking to them every day.
What is your reaction?
Y'all have a good day.
What is your reaction, sir?
Again, that reporter, numerous attempts to contact him, had to go to the back door. The back door. It's almost as if he's hiding from the press and doesn't want to actually answer questions. Weird. Now look, again, here's a reporter that confronted him, saying, we've been reaching out to him, waiting for him to respond to this community, looking for him for days. People here are very upset over some of the decision making, but again, he was dodging questions, key questions, claiming that he was cooperating and claiming that he's going to address this at some point. Once the families would stop grieving. I mean, we're still burying bodies. Okay, well, maybe if, your officers, maybe if you would have given the order to go in and not waited for over an hour, there would have been less bodies to bury. You ever think about that? Had you actually done your job? Like what you were supposed to? You didn't follow protocol that you're supposed to. Again, if you're in an active shooter situation, you are, and this was made after Columbine. If you're in that situation without backup, you go in anyway. You go in, you engage the shooter. Okay? They didn't even follow their own protocol. And the families and the rest of the country, we would love to know why. We'd love to have some straight answers here. We'd love to know. Love to know. And finally, I want to point out where Arredondo tells the reporter this. We're going to explain to the families eventually, obviously. Whenever this is done, the families quit grieving, then we'll do that, obviously. Families, quit grieving. Just, no. What they're hoping is that everybody forgets about it, that everybody shuts up about it. That's the real reason that they're waiting. We'll get to it eventually once they start grieving. Well, we all know, any parent who has lost a child, they'll tell you one thing, without a doubt, that the grieving never stops. It never ends. I've got my own personal anecdotes. I know some people that have lost their kids. A friend of mine from high school, had passed away. I knew her mother. That grieving didn't end. My wife's stepmom lost one of her kids during a routine surgery. Still grieving. That grief is never going away. My own sister passed away, by the way, several years ago. I don't think my mom's ever going to stop grieving. And so you ask all those mothers, and they're going to tell you, the grieving never ends. There will always be a hole in their lives where their children were. And again, it's horrible no matter the situation, but even more so when you're dealing with small children. I mean, these are just little kids. It's horrifying. So when you hear that, and the way he's so incredibly callous about it, and just like, not even addressing that, no hint of emotion at all. That's heartless. He doesn't give a damn about those families. He doesn't give a damn about those grieving parents, about those children passed away, that were not passed away, that were murdered, shot. How many of those kids could they have saved? How many of those kids? No, you didn't give a damn about them. In fact, look, I think that really he wants this entire thing to go away. You know why? Because he has now been elected to city council. Yeah, he won an election on May 7th. In fact, Mayor Don McLaughlin had promised after the Uvalde shooting to delay his swearing-in ceremony until the victims had been laid to rest. But of course, that didn't happen. They couldn't even wait. They had a private ceremony on Tuesday to swear him in and the other new council members. Couldn't even wait. Just let me get to my new job. Who gives a damn about the kids? I don't care. No, this guy is only concerned about his own political power, his career. Murder of the 19 children? Oh, man, that is just super inconvenient when it comes to the timing, man. Oh, if only that it just waited a week before Ramos went into that school. Then I wouldn't have to deal with all these annoying questions and the reporters. And I wouldn't have actually had to do my job. I mean, man. Oh, terrible timing. And while you're lamenting, this guy's lamenting about the terrible timing about this and having to answer questions from those damn families. Those same families are empty, have been hollowed out by this incredible tragedy. It is just absolutely disgusting. What a gross person.